another lesson from my father. So through all of this time, even as a teenager, 13, 14 years old, there was always something my dad would do which made me feel really awkward and embarrassed. Like when we were out in public, imagine we're out in public in like some store or something, right? And we go up to the cashier. There's something my dad would always do, and maybe your dad does it too. And you know what it was? He'd speak to people. You see, like, I've grown up halfway through like the social media smartphone era where like I grew up without that stuff, even though I grew up with the internet. I grew up, you know, without a smartphone. I got my first phone at age like 14, 15 or something. So I grew up without that stuff, but I think my generation, still when we were teenagers, we were very like socially awkward, or at least I was. Quite shy, quite reserved. Like, you know, you'd go into a shop and not have like extremely anxious thoughts or anything, but you wouldn't, at least I wouldn't have thought that it was like normal or right to speak to people more than the, you know, expected of oh, hi, like, yeah, here's the stuff I want to buy. Okay, yeah, thank you. Here's, yeah, can I pay by card, please? Like, I thought you were just supposed to leave it to that, but we'd go to the shop and my dad makes like a comment on something that's happening. And he'd turn around, there's like a family behind us, he'd end up speaking to them. They've got like a little daughter who's making a noise, and he'd like bend down and speak to her and stuff. And I always was so embarrassed by this. I always found it so awkward to be around. I was like, how can he just do this? That's like, doesn't he know? And then, you know, it took me a good few years to realize like it's just social skills. Like, this is what a healthy human's supposed to be like. We're around people that are essentially part of our tribes, part of our community, and it's like you should essentially, like in this caveman primal way, identify that the people that you're physically around are friend. So when we would go somewhere, it's like my dad would literally, like, imagine we're all on some like family trip in a park and we'd walk past another family. My dad would always say like hiya to them. And he'd always end up speaking to like the little kids and like, oh, like, you know, oh, like the little girl's got this or something. And I always thought that was like so cringe, so weird. It turned out I just had shit social skills, and probably you do too. I think, right? And I'm not perfect at this whatsoever. I still need to improve my social skills when it comes to like meeting strangers. But I think the weirder thing is to just walk past someone, to make eye contact with someone, and to, you know, to be physically next to someone and not saying anything to them. Like, imagine you get into an elevator and someone else comes in and you just like stand there awkwardly. I think that's the weirder thing.